Thank you all for joining us. We're thrilled to welcome you to the third program in our Judaica Project lecture series. In these monthly Zoom sessions on Judaica, Jewish art, and what these mean to you, speakers will present a different type of or topic related to Judaica or Jewish art in order to prompt discussion with and among the audience. Attendees will be invited to ask questions and share their own experiences at the end of this session. This series is made possible by a generous grant from the Jewish Federation of Greater New Haven. This evening, Marci Pratt is going to share her experience crafting and selling Judaica in her own small Judaica shop in Connecticut, Marci Gifts. This growing company started with B'nai Mitzvah memory glasses, a glass filled with mementos from the event, and glitter, then sealed with wax. Since then, Marci Gifts has grown to feature budget-friendly jewelry, DIY kits, and custom commemoratives. Marci's specialty is handmade earrings for every Jewish holiday, from Rosh Chodesh to Rosh Hashanah, and everything in between. She got tired of seeing every other religious group have themed accessories and wanted something for her own holidays. Marci has over 160 designs for holidays like Lag BaOmer, Tashlich, Sukkot, and many Passover designs, such as Miriam with her timbal. Whether making earrings or matzo ball soup, Marci's goal is to combine her love for Judaism with her passion for crafting to help Marci Gifts grow and to be a pillar of her community. Welcome, Marci.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Um, so we're just gonna have a little bit of an open format for the two of us to chat, and I have some questions ready for you, and I know you brought some favorite items to share. And then we'll open it up to the group for other questions or comments on what we've kind of talked about. So is there anything that you want to start off showing us or telling us a little bit about kind of what you make and how?
So I really tried to make all types of Judaica, again, from jewelry, Seder plates, Tzedakah boxes, menorahs, mezuzahs. I'm working on crocheting emotional support gefilte fish right now. So it's a small little plush like stuffed animal in the shape of a gefilte fish. Really excited about those. They're super cute. They're going to be launching next week at my art show.
Very
So
cool.
it's just really, yeah, I just really try. So my father owns a lamp making business where he makes lamps, and we got into the art show scene where we do the, outdoor vendors. And doing that a couple years, there was nothing Judaica anywhere. I mean, you would get very high end, jewelers making Jewish stars or, high end. Every once in a while, you would see like somebody making taluses, depending
Mhm,
on the area, but it was all very high end. And
mhm,
not everyone has the money to invest in high end. And you're not necessarily looking to give, your granddaughter $400 earrings when she's 2 years old or 10 years old. So I was really trying to make something that is for everybody on every budget, just
mhm,
to help people connect more with Judaism, because it's not always on the forefront of people's minds these
mhm.
days. Um, so yeah, I've been doing craft fairs for about 2 years now. I go mostly in Connecticut and New York to sisterhood shows, JCC shows, and I'm doing the Federation Fun Day up in Goshen, New York next week. I don't
Okay.
even know. I'm not even sure where Goshen, New York is, but
Mhm.
it'll be an adventure. And it's just really amazing to get out in the community and show everyone, you know, that it's okay to be prideful in your Judaism and, you know, accessorize.
Okay. I mean, I love the concept of trying to make um something more accessible and more kind of everyday. I know the thing that I encounter sometimes at like farmers market and craft shows is that there's somebody in southwestern Connecticut who makes menorahs. And they're relatively affordable. I mean, she's a ceramicist and her stuff is not like insanely expensive, but she's hand making these menorahs. So yeah. So we know that you kind of specialize in earrings. So what is your range of like, do you like jewelry, DIY kits? Like what kind of techniques do you use in terms of like doing, like, do you metalwork? Do you just kind of put things together? Do you do any kind of wood crafting? And so where are your kind of lines for yourself for what you do and don't make?
So most of the jewelry is attaching charms and designing beads. I am working on learning to make my own glass beads. The ones I make are not ready for visible for
Okay.
people to see right now. But I do a lot of my own metal work. I can solder things and I do basic woodworking. But like for some of the menorahs I make electric menorahs. I do all of the wiring on that to make the electric menorah, all of the, woodwork and soldering to put those together. As far as some of the other crafts, I tried doing a lot of resin art because that's very popular. And the
Hmm.
pieces that I've made that I still have are very, popular. But
Hmm.
resin is a very fickle material to
Hmm.
work with. If you don't mix it properly, you
Hmm.
waste it. So I'm trying to get into more easier materials to work with. So sticking with metal and wood, and then glass because it's you have a little bit more room to play with it.
Okay, interesting. Um, so you talked a little bit about like how you started and what kind of materials you work with. The one thing I'm really curious about is, well, two things. So like how did the memory glasses start as like the first commemorative? And honestly, the memory glasses, I've never heard like in theory, I know what a memory glass is. I've never really heard of somebody specifically making them for B'nai Mitzvahs. Um, and then also how you ended up settling on earrings as your like main as one of your most diverse products, I guess. Um,
So
yeah.
yeah, the memory glasses started. I was the second person to be bat mitzvahed in my religious school. And the person before me had an older brother who I guess his friends made him one. So
Mm,
he made one at his brother's bar mitzvah. And you're 13, so it's a rush. You're gonna, take a glass off the
mm,
table and steal some decorations to put. I mean, it's confetti and like ribbon. None of this was like high-end stuff.
mhm.
And then you're hiding in the bathroom melting candle wax to seal it up. And we just thought it was so
Okay.
fun. So we all started doing it for everyone's B'nai Mitzvah. And then all of our younger siblings we did it from. I mean, it wasn't very profitable, but I was 13. So
Right. That's
I wasn't
fascinating.
expecting. Yeah, it was really fun. And all of the kids got along and we would all right, you go over here and steal some glitter, and I'm gonna go over here and, take the balloon or a piece of the flower, or a candle off of the cake. And you just found little trinkets from the event and you put it in the wine glass and then sealed it up with candle wax.
Okay. That's
So it was an
fascinating. And
experience.
yeah, and it makes it I get like that context makes it make a lot more sense that it became kind of like a community tradition in your religious school. And then the other thing I didn't really imagine is the immediacy of it, that you're doing it kind of like at the event.
Yeah,
Um,
all right there in the
that's
bathrooms.
that's really interesting. Um, and I'm that's I I'm sure. we haven't really, something that we haven't touched on that I think you're getting at is um is how specific types of Judaica or specific, I mean, not necessarily things become Judaica, and well, we've talked about
Right.
things becoming Judaica, but the idea that there are specific kind of material culture traditions in very micro communities is a really interesting thing that brings up, and I'm sure people will have some more thoughts about that. I don't have anything exactly that comes to mind, but in October we are going to be having one of these sessions that's really talking about Jewish material culture, and I'm sure that there will be some connections there as well. um Amazing. So earrings then also, what's kind of the story behind that?
So specifically with women that I know, sometimes you don't feel so great, so a necklace is too tight, or a bracelet is, it just doesn't fit right, and your fingers are swollen. So a lot of jewelry is very size and moment specific,
Mhm.
but your earlobes, your earrings always fit. So it doesn't matter how you're feeling on, tuba of, you can wear a pair of earrings that symbolize, the history of this maybe not so known, Jewish holiday. And it doesn't matter, anything else is going on. So it's just a very easy item that everybody who has pierced ears, and even if not, I can, you make clip-on earrings, but so anybody with earlobes can wear earrings without having to worry about, oh, I had too much salt the night before, my hands are, so now my rings don't fit, or having to make sure that you have sizes for everyone's ring finger at a show. So it's very easy. And there's just so many Jewish holidays. Everybody has something for Hanukkah. And if, whether you're a specific Jewish um, designer or you're just trying to be inclusive, everybody has something for Hanukkah. And
Mhm.
some people have something for Passover. But how many people have gefilte fish earrings?
Mhm.
I sell gefilte fish earrings.
Right.
No one else has gefilte fish earrings. So I really try and get as many of these smaller, lesser known items. So they're talking pieces,
Hmm.
and then you really do have something for every single holiday that you can wear.
So how did you start doing the earrings for, I guess, I don't know how to define it, but like holidays that I might not expect somebody to have themed jewelry for? And also, like, what was the first one, if you remember, that you came up with?
So I remember starting very early on, and my, holiday line was not as extensive. And this very arrogant teenage kid comes up to me and he's like, "Oh, well, you don't have anything for Tisha B'Av." And at the time I didn't. And I was like, so Tisha B'Av is it's a fast day where you
Right.
commemorate the destruction of the two temples and many other tragedies. And in most people who are not very in touch with the details, like the minor details, probably aren't going to have that holiday on the forefront. And this
Uh-huh.
little pompous kid's like, well, oh, I know you don't have that. And I didn't. And I was like, well, I'm never going to do that again. I want to be able to show off to the little know-it-all kids at these events. So I started researching every Jewish holiday I could find, and I feel like I am successful. So I do have something for, I have earrings that show the, Jerusalem, and that are temples to commemorate the destruction. I have something for Lag BaOmer when we're, counting the Omer in the middle of the Omer. I have lulav and etrog for Sukkot. So I have matzo ball soup earrings.
Hmm.
Um, I don't have chopped liver earrings, but that's just because it doesn't transfer well. They
Yeah,
didn't, they didn't really,
understandable.
it wasn't, easy to transfer into jewelry. But I just want to make sure that, like, no matter where you are in your religious journey, you can take it a step further with, just a $10 pair of earrings. And maybe you'll learn a little bit more about a holiday that you might not have just because these earrings are really cool.
Excellent. Yeah, that's really, again, it's wild that that all started with a kid kind of challenging you to say like, well, I'm sure you don't have
12-year-old
something.
kid.
That's really wild. Um, so I guess you touched on this a little bit, but um, when you're trying to come up with these, things that connect to these smaller holidays or less well-known holidays, um, where do you kind of get that from? And do you ever um do you ever have kind of creative blocks, like you are challenged to come up with something very specific and you just can't do it, and how you kind of deal with that and get over that? Because I mean, you have thousands of earring designs. I can't believe that like each one was really easy to come up with.
So I spent a lot of time on the Chabad website studying the minor details. So I remember hearing of Tu B'Av, which is, I guess, the Jew equivalent to the Jewish Valentine's Day. And I
Mhm.
remember hearing it in passing in Hebrew school, but that was, 20 years ago. I didn't
Mhm.
know anything about it. So now I'm like, okay, well, I am not going to let some 12-year-old kid challenge me. So I started researching it, and I learned that I have those earrings. So I learned that back in the days of the temple, single women would dress in white and go dancing into the vineyards to try and find, a husband. It was also the day that they celebrated the wood offering in the
Mhm.
temple. So, learning that, I'm not sure if you can see this, but I was able to design a pair of earrings that have, a wood base with the white
Okay.
bottom to symbolize it, and then the hearts and the Jewish star. So it's just a lot of really learning the little details of each holiday. And, you know, not just having a dreidel for Hanukkah, but
Mhm.
I have latkes and menorahs, and I have a pair of earrings that, do you remember the story of Herschel and the Hanukkah Goblin?
Of course, my favorite Hanukkah book.
So on my website, they're called Schmershel and the Ghoul, so I don't get sued for copyright
Okay.
infringement. But I have little glass rabbis and little goblins for
Oh, those are
Hanukkah.
so cute.
So these are handmade glass beads. I did not make these, but
Okay.
my friend made them. She's an amazing glass artist. So
I
it's just
Yeah.
going a step further than just what Target would put out for a holiday.
Hmm. That's really interesting. The first thought I had was that the those tuba ob earrings are really interesting because they're like, it's obviously relevant, right? Once you like, you've taken parts of the story and you've found ways to have it represented, but it's also not it's not like in your face kind of, right? So like they really, like, you could somebody could just wear those and it wouldn't be
Right.
obvious that it's a tuba of earring or something. And so that's really, I think that's really interesting, where there's a clear connection, but also it's a kind of a flexible item.
Yes, so
um
they can wear it anytime.
yeah. And I mean the Herschel and I mean, that's really cute. And certainly like taking I mean, it connects with, I mean, it's the same concept of kind of Miriam and her timbre, only like you're taking a story that is about, related to a holiday and is like an image in Judaism, and using that to be a little bit less cliche, I suppose,
Mhm.
is one way to say it. I'm sure there's a nicer way to say that. But I mean, and certainly taking similar to kind of like the memory glasses becoming a community tradition, you're taking something that's certainly a touchstone for you and I think our parents, but wouldn't necessarily occur to everybody, and bringing in a little bit of a millennial spin to some Judaic and material culture too, which I love and is part of the point of this series as well. Um, wow. Okay. So do you have any other things with you that you wanted to share with us?
Oh, I have tons of stuff. Um, so I have latke earrings
Okay, excellent.
and matzo ball soup earrings. I have these are brand new. So it's a little Noah's Ark, and
Okay.
then it's a little um animal. So this
Mhm.
is like a little gnome elephant and the ark. And so you can wear something for Noah's Ark, and there's all different, I have all
Mhm.
different animals available.
Cool.
Um, I have earrings for a new bride. It's the chuppah and then the I am my beloved and my beloved is mine prayer.
Hmm.
I also, and I mean, I have, like I said, I have, oh, my gefilte fish earrings. They say gefilte on them. I don't know if you could see it. They're adorable.
Excellent.
I have the goat and two zuzim for Passover.
Oh, that's
Now,
another, yeah,
I
that's a great one.
I did the conversion. So two zuzim to the modern US dollar is like 16 cents.
Okay.
So a goat was worth 16 cents back then.
That seems low.
Right? That's a pretty cheap goat.
Yeah.
Even with inflation, I could afford a goat, a whole goat.
Yeah.
Um, I have flames for Lag BaOmer, little
Okay.
bonfire
Excellent. Yeah.
flames. I also have the bow and arrow ones. And this is Miriam with her timbrel.
Okay. Wonderful.
And then, I mean, what else? I have tons of stuff I could show you. I could show you um, Seder plates. I can show you menorahs. What do you want to see?
So I think if you could show us, so if you have a Seder plate and one are handy to see a little bit more um varied stuff, I think that would be great. And then I have one more question for you, and then I think we're gonna open it up for some questions and comments.
So I have two different designs of Seder plates currently. The first is this resin. The camera's small. You're
Yeah,
able to see
we
it.
can see it. Yeah.
So it's made out of resin with dried flowers,
Oh, okay. Really
and
cool.
then each little it's embossed with the Hebrew for
Hmm.
the item. So these are, again, they're made out of resin and they have crystal feet and dried flowers in them.
Oh, really
Then
cool.
I have something a little more non-traditional. I have these square Seder plates or rectangle square Seder plates.
Oh,
And
interesting.
it has this one happens to have strawberries and then everything's in English.
Okay.
But what I like about this one is I made a matching menorah. So you could have it
Oh,
there in
that's
that
really
set.
cool.
So you can, I sell them together or separate.
Oh, I love that. I mean, you see some, I mean, obviously you see like Shabbat sets and Passover sets, but I love the idea of like having like a multi-holiday set that all relate and being able that being kind of a gift for a Jewish adult starting their own home or a wedding present or something. That's really cool. I wonder I suspect it's probably a thing, but I've never seen it.
So I made some wood mezuzahs, and
Oh,
it's
okay.
hollowed out,
Okay.
and there's different designs.
Oh,
And
excellent.
then I have ceramic ones that are each designed differently.
Oh, cool.
So ceramic. I also have some DIY clocks. So it's a kit you
Right.
buy. I have about 8 different designs. So you buy the kit, it comes with the clock movement, the board, all of the wood pieces, and it's all
Okay.
unfinished.
Right.
So this is just, a sample, but you can paint it however you want. So it's a great little fun project for, adults and or, if you have kids, so they can make a clock specifically for whatever holiday. So I have Rosh Hashanah, Purim, Passover, Hanukkah, B'nai Mitzvah, and then
Hmm.
I think I have 3 just general Judaica, one with an Israel
Okay.
shape, a Jewish star shape, and then there's one with 4 different shapes: the dove, the tree of life, I think a Hamza, and there's another symbol on that one. It's escaping me right now. But so it's a full kit.
Right.
Because, especially when everyone was stuck in their house looking for something to do, you can create a work of art to represent your favorite holiday.
Yeah, that's really cool. I noticed the DIY kits, and I was curious kind of how the clocks started and whether that was an extension of the kind of electric like work and object art that like you and your dad make or how that kind of came about.
So it started because people like to make stuff, but if
Hmm.
it doesn't have a function, they
Hmm.
tend to throw it.
Sure.
Oh, great, I'll spend the day making this, planter, but I don't like plants,
Hmm.
so I'm not going to use it and I'm not going to look at it. But a clock, everyone needs to know what time it is, you
Hmm.
know, they'll put up on their wall and then it'll just help remind them of why they made it and the time that they made it. And they'll actually use what they put time into.
Okay, excellent. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Um, um, so I think you've touched on this a little bit, but if you, as we kind of move into opening it up to questions and comments, could you talk a little bit about kind of what the significance of crafting Judaica has been for you and kind of what it has taught you about, I mean, about crafting or about, Judaica and Judaism and your, relationship with those things.
So I've always been a crafter ever since, I was little. I love creating things, but as I've grown and my craft has been now more targeted to Judaica, it
Hmm.
really has brought me closer to my community.
Hmm.
And especially in a time where every day or every other day you're seeing some type of anti-Semitic comment or post, it really is more important now than ever to be in touch with your community and not shy away from it. So by going out there and showing people that, I'm not afraid to say that I am a Jewish woman running a Jewish business. Here is my Jewish jewelry. And getting people to wear it helps
Hmm.
them also become closer to the community and not shy away from it and not, back down. when there's so much hate out there.
Absolutely. I know that I've made choices within the last couple of years to be a little bit more um open. I mean, it's not visible in the way that some things are, but like I never, like as a kid, I never was interested in wearing a Star of David or anything. And a couple years ago, if this is visible, I started wearing a menorah charm. Um, and actually, I don't know, this is an interesting theme that I've noticed in kind of so the last two discussions is charms, or like the like charms in a like a charm bracelet kind of way, like as a type of jewelry or a type of construction, and its appearance in like Jewish art, or like Judaica, or like kind of everyday Judaica since the 90s. So somebody in our previous I'm sorry, like this is very literally like what I wear every day as a necklace is very literally like a small charm. And I think I'm curious to know if that's just like a trend in kind of like everyday art in general. Like there was a menorah shared in our last session from the 90s that had little, like it was kind of a tree and there were little things hanging on it that were charms, like a charm that looked like charms from a charm bracelet. Um, and I'm kind of wondering now about the connection with necklaces and where kind of the history of wearing a charm necklace like that starts. I know that I read a book in fourth grade that involved a child in the Holocaust who had a Star of David necklace, and it's just occurring to me now. I don't know if that is anachronistic or not. Um, so that's kind of way off of what you just brought up, but I that's really interesting. Um, I have to think about some of that. Um, yeah. Um, so thank you so much for
Absolutely.
presenting to us kind of like what you've been doing with your shop. Um, and I think now I'm going to open it up